San Diego had always been Haley's favorite. I think it was the air, the way it felt like the sun wasn't just shining but watching. Alive. The kind of city that looks good in photos and even better on people who smile a little too easily. We were there for a wedding. Two of our mutual friends from college, finally tying the knot after almost a decade of on-and-off drama that played out like a slow-motion soap opera. Haley was excited, practically bouncing in the passenger seat as we drove down the coast that morning. I remember thinking she seemed lighter than she'd been in months, almost giddy. She even wore the blue dress I'd always loved. The one she told me made her shoulders look too broad, but I thought made her look like she walked off the cover of some slow-dancing summer movie. That version of her felt close again. Familiar. So I let my guard down. The ceremony was fine. Beautiful, even. The vows were emotional. Everyone clapped. But my mind wasn't on the couple. I kept glancing at Haley, trying to memorize the softness in her face when she laughed at the groom's jokes, or the way she reached out and touched my arm absent-mindedly, like muscle memory. It was almost enough to make me believe everything was okay again. Almost. Things didn't shift until the reception. We were halfway through cocktail hour when I noticed her walking away, holding 2 glasses of white wine, saying she needed to find the bride. I watched her go, heels clicking, hair swaying, and turned back to my conversation. Probably about sports or real estate. I don't even remember. But a few minutes later, I saw her again, standing at the edge of the ballroom, near the open doors leading to the patio. And she wasn't alone. There was a man, tall, clean-cut, dark jacket, no tie. He leaned in toward her like they were sharing a secret. She was smiling in that way that didn't involve her eyes. And then they hugged. Not a polite hug. Not the one-arm side squeeze you give an old coworker. This was longer, slower, like neither of them wanted to be the first to let go. His hand slipped down her back and rested on her waist, right where mine used to go. She pulled back eventually, but their faces hovered there, too close. Her smile tightened. His didn't. I walked over before I even realized what I was doing. My footsteps were steady, but my pulse was not. "Hey," I said casually. "Friend of the bride?" Haley turned toward me like I was interrupting. Her smile didn't drop, just shifted, tightened. "This is Tyler," she said, waving a hand between us. "He and I used to work together in New York. Remember when I was doing that tech consulting contract? That's him. Small world, right?" Tyler reached out a hand. "Nice to meet you, man," he said. Smooth, confident, no guilt. I shook it firm. "So, how long has it been?" I asked Haley, not looking at him. She shrugged. "A while. We lost touch. It's nothing. You're overthinking it." I raised an eyebrow. "Am I?" She smiled wider. "Relax. It doesn't mean anything. And maybe that would have worked on me a year ago. Maybe even 6 months ago. But not now." We walked back toward our table, and I caught Tyler's hand hovering at her lower back as we moved through the crowd. She didn't stop him, just kept walking. Dinner was served. Haley barely touched her food. I asked her what was wrong, and she said she wasn't hungry. When I tried to make a joke, she gave me a small smile and went back to picking at her salad. She kept her eyes on the tablecloth, the dance floor, anywhere but me. Someone toasted the happy couple. Glasses clinked. A DJ started playing music from the early 2010s, nostalgic stuff when people still danced without filming themselves. Haley said she had to go to the restroom and disappeared into the crowd. I waited 10 minutes, then 20. I checked my phone. No messages. I stood up and walked outside for some air, telling myself I wasn't doing anything suspicious. I just needed space. That's all. But I didn't head to the patio. I walked through the corridor, passing the coat room, until I reached the hallway leading to the restrooms. And that's when I saw them. Haley was standing against the wall, angled just slightly toward him. Tyler. He was talking, and she was listening like she used to listen to me before her mind started wandering mid-conversation. Her hand was on his wrist, just resting there, light, gentle. It wasn't S***Zool. It wasn't even dramatic. But it was worse than if I'd caught them kissing. It was familiarity. Int asterisk Macy. The way you touch someone when you want to feel closer without anyone noticing. They didn't see me. I didn't announce myself. I didn't call out her name or charge down the hallway like a scene from a movie. I turned and walked into the men's restroom. I went into the last stall, locked the door, and leaned against it, staring at the speckled floor tiles like they might answer a question I wasn't brave enough to ask out loud. Then I did something I hadn't done since the day I put it on. I took off my wedding ring. I didn't throw it. I didn't flush it. I didn't cry. I just held it for a moment, cold and small in my palm, and then slid it into my pocket like a secret I didn't want the world to know yet. That was the night I stopped lying to myself. Because it did mean something. Even if she didn't say it out loud. Even if she swore nothing happened or nothing was happening. I knew better. The lie wasn't in what she said. It was in how she looked at him. It was in how she didn't look at me. They say hindsight is 20/20ths. I think that's a lie. Hindsight isn't clear. It's cruel. Because once something cracks, every little moment you ignored before starts coming back. Rewritten, recast, relit like some slow-burning thriller you didn't know you were the lead in. I wasn't just paranoid anymore. I was remembering. That night in San Diego marked something. It didn't explode. There wasn't yelling, no dramatic exit. But inside me, something unhooked. A thread pulled loose. And when I got home, I couldn't stop tugging at it. That's when the pattern started showing up. Little things that I had brushed off or made excuses for, now screaming for my attention. Like how Haley had stopped asking me how my day was. I mean, really asking, not the autopilot how was work, while scrolling her phone. I couldn't even remember the last time she looked me in the eye and waited for an answer. And then there was the overtime. First, it made sense. Her office had been going through reorganization. She claimed she was helping pick up the slack. Sometimes she came home drained, still in her blazer and heels, dropping her bag by the door with a sigh. I used to meet her there, kiss her forehead, tell her to go relax. I thought I was being supportive. But then came the friend meetups. New names I didn't recognize. Always just coworkers or friends from the gym. But they never posted anything. No photos. No stories. No tags. When I asked about it once, she laughed and said, "Not everything needs to go on social media, babe." Fair point. But she had deleted our photos too. We used to be all over each other's pages. Vacation selfies, brunches, dumb little stories where I'd catch her singing off-key in the car. Gone. All of it. She said she was refreshing her feed, trying to be more intentional. At the time, I believed her. But now I was noticing how every update of her life didn't include me. She changed her perfume. That one hit me harder than I expected. She used to wear this soft lavender scent. Something warm, subtle. I'd know she was in a room just by the air she left behind. But lately, it was something different. Sharper. Musky. Something a man might pick out at a boutique and call elegant. I asked her once about it, and she shrugged, said she just wanted to try something new. But she never wore it around the house. Only when she went out. She also started dressing. Different. Not that I didn't like it, but it wasn't for me. At home, she wore the same old hoodie and leggings. Hair in a bun. But before going out, she'd change twice, sometimes 3 times. Tight dresses. New heels I didn't recognize. And that confidence in her walk. The kind that wasn't trying to impress me. One night, I noticed she came home late, again, and headed straight for the shower. No hug. No kiss. Just hey. And the sound of water running. I passed by the laundry hamper and noticed a new blouse I'd never seen before, smelling faintly of something that wasn't her. Or maybe it was now. And then there were the receipts. Literal ones. A scarf from a boutique I didn't even know existed. A charger for a phone model she didn't own. Takeout from that Thai place across town, 2 entrees. But she told me she ate at the office. Maybe the worst moment came on a Sunday. We were supposed to drive upstate to see her parents, but she canceled last minute. Said her mom wasn't feeling well. I didn't think twice about it. Instead, I spent the afternoon clearing out her car. She'd asked me to take it in for service. When I opened the passenger side, I noticed something. A strand of hair. Long dark. Curled at the end. Haley's was straight and light brown. It sat there like a signature. I closed the door, walked inside, and didn't say a word. Because I still wasn't ready. Not yet. Instead, I started watching. Really watching. What time she left the house. What days she came home late. What excuses she gave. And what patterns didn't make sense. She started texting in the bathroom more. Would tilt her screen away when I walked by. I asked her once, teasingly, "You hiding state secrets or something?" She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "Nope, just memes you wouldn't get." Funny thing was, we used to share everything. Now I didn't even know what made her laugh. One night, I asked if she wanted to do our usual Friday takeout and movie. She told me she had a girls' night. The kind that used to include actual girls I knew. This time, you wouldn't know them. Just some new girls from the gym. That night I stayed home. Waited. Watched the clock. She said she'd be back by 10. At midnight, I texted her, "You good?" She replied, "Yep, just finishing up now. Don't wait up, love you." I sat in the dark, looking at those words. She never used punctuation in texts. That one had a perfect exclamation mark and a period. It read like something written for me, not by her. A week later, I checked her car again. A takeout bag in the back seat. 2 sets of chopsticks. She said she wasn't hungry when she got home. Little things. But little things build. The more I paid attention, the more the randomness unraveled. Like how she stopped calling me during her breaks. Or how her charger started staying in her purse, even though she had one at home and one at the office. One time, she left her phone on the counter and stepped out to take a call. A number popped up, no name. Just a string of digits. Area code I didn't recognize. It rang twice, then stopped. I didn't open it. I didn't touch it. But I took a photo of the number with my own phone. Just in case. And I started checking the trash, digital and real. Deleted texts. Half-ripped receipts. A parking stub from a hotel an hour away. On a Thursday she said she worked late. I wasn't hunting. I wasn't hacking. I wasn't breaking into anything. But I was done pretending. When I brought up the weekend getaway we talked about months ago, she brushed it off. "Too busy right now," she said, not even glancing up from her phone. "Let's plan something after Q4. We used to dream about stuff like that, road trips, wine tastings, hiking in places where the air was too clean. Now it was all maybe laters. But she found time for late dinners. Last-minute plans. Yoga retreats I wasn't invited to. The final crack, the one that really sent me spiraling, came the night she asked if we could take some space. She said it casually, as if asking to change dinner plans. Told me she'd been feeling overstimulated. Like the world was too loud, and I was just part of the noise. I asked her if I'd done something wrong. She said no. Then yes. Then I don't know. I asked if she still loved me. She said, "Of course I do. Just not in the same way." And somehow that was worse than no. Because what does that even mean? It was like being given a glass of water when you're drowning. I started sleeping on the couch some nights. Told her it was because of her snoring. We both laughed. But she didn't ask me to come back to bed. Not once. And somewhere deep down, I think she was hoping I'd be the one to break it. To say I couldn't do it anymore. To let her go so she wouldn't have to be the one to walk away. But I wasn't going to give her that out. Because now I was sure. There was someone else. I didn't have proof yet. Not hard evidence. No lipstick on the collar. No texts that spelled it out. But I had a puzzle. And the pieces were starting to snap into place. Everything that once felt random. The missed calls, the perfume, the dressed-up nights, the takeout for 2, the deleted photos, the old colleagues. All of it was part of something bigger. A chain. And I was at the end of it. The night everything stopped being a suspicion didn't arrive with thunder or shouting. Came quietly like most irreversible things do. No raised voices. No dramatic confrontation. Just a screen lighting up in a kitchen that suddenly felt too small for the truth it was about to hold. It was a Wednesday. I remember that because Wednesdays used to be our reset days, no plans, no dinners out, just leftovers and whatever show we were slowly working through. That night, Haley said she had a headache and went to bed early. I stayed up, rinsing dishes, listening to the hum of the refrigerator, trying not to think about how distant she'd felt even when she kissed me goodnight. Her tablet was on the counter. That alone wasn't unusual. She used it for work emails, recipes, random browsing. I didn't pick it up with intent. I wasn't looking for proof. I honestly just wanted to check the weather. There was a storm warning for the weekend, and I'd been thinking about canceling a drive. When I tapped the screen, it unlocked instantly. The notification banner slid down before I could even register what I was seeing. Booking confirmation, weekend for 2. My thumb froze. I told myself there was an explanation. There always was. A work retreat. A client thing. A gift. Something. Anything that didn't end with my chest tightening the way it did as I tapped the notification. The email opened into a PDF. Luxury mountain resort. Fireplace suite. Wine tasting. Jacuzzi. Candlelit dinner for 2. Dates highlighted in soft gray. The same weekend she told me she was flying to Arizona to see a dying uncle. My hands started shaking then. Not violently, not dramatically. Just enough to notice. Enough to feel disconnected from them, like they didn't belong to me anymore. I scrolled. The reservation name read, Haley Brooks. No second name listed. But underneath, in smaller text, was a message field. Soon you'll be all mine. T. There was no emoji. No joke. No softness to it. Just certainty. I sat down at the kitchen table without realizing it. The chair scraped against the floor, loud in the silence. My heart wasn't racing. That part surprised me. I felt calm in the way people get right before something collapses. I checked the date again. The location. The email address it was sent from. Not spam. Not a mistake. I closed the tablet. Then I opened it again. I needed to see it twice. Needed to make sure my mind wasn't rewriting things. It was all still there. Clean. Undeniable. She had lied to me with ease. The uncle didn't exist. I knew that because 10 minutes later, I was sitting in my car, parked down the block, calling her brother. It was late and I hated myself for waking him, but I needed one final confirmation, something external, something real. He sounded confused when I asked. Uncle in Arizona? He said. We don't have an uncle in Arizona. That was it. No long explanation. No follow-up questions. Just silence on both ends of the line. I thanked him, hung up, sat there with the phone still in my hand, screen dark, reflecting my face back at me. I didn't recognize the man staring back. When I went back inside, Haley was asleep, or pretending to be. I watched her chest rise and fall, slow and even. The same rhythm I'd memorized over years. I stood there longer than I should have, wondering how someone could look so peaceful while dismantling a life behind the scenes. I didn't wake her. I didn't cry. I went into the guest room and sat on the edge of the bed until the sun started coming up. By morning, I wasn't angry. I was done. That's the thing people don't talk about. There's a point where pain stops escalating and just settles, becomes solid, final, like concrete. She came into the kitchen around 8, hair pulled back, phone in hand, asked if I'd seen her tablet. I slid it across the counter without a word. She didn't notice anything wrong at first, just smiled, took a sip of coffee, started scrolling. Then her face changed, just slightly, a flicker, pause too long between breaths. I didn't ask her anything. I didn't need to, because the truth had already introduced itself, quietly, efficiently, and it wasn't leaving. There's this moment, right after you realize someone has betrayed you, when your brain tries to hit rewind. Like maybe if you sit still long enough, if you don't move or breathe or blink, time will bend, and you'll wake up in the version of your life where none of it happened. The life where you're still loved, where everything makes sense. That moment passed quickly for me. After I saw the booking email, after I confirmed there was no uncle, I didn't confront Haley. Not right away. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I didn't even ask questions. There were no questions left to ask. The evidence was complete. What came next wasn't dramatic. It was clean, precise. I opened the closet in the guest room where we kept extra luggage and pulled out her medium-sized suitcase, the one she used for quick trips, the one she claimed were just team building. I laid it open on the bed and started packing. Not carelessly, not to send a message. I folded everything neatly. Her favorite blouses, the silk sleep shorts she wore when she wanted to feel cute but not overdressed, her cosmetic bag from the top shelf of the bathroom cabinet, the mug that said "Girl Boss" in gold cursive she used every morning. I even included her backup charger. I didn't want her to have to turn around and come back. When I zipped it up, it clicked like punctuation. That afternoon, I left work early, told my manager I wasn't feeling well, which was true, just not in the way they assumed. I didn't go home right away. I parked a few blocks down and sat in the car watching people pass by. Some were laughing. Some were on calls. Some were arguing quietly over directions. Everyone moving through their lives like they knew who they were. I remember wondering how many of them were lying to each other too. How many of them were standing on the edge of something they didn't see coming. When I finally walked into the house, the air smelled like her perfume. Whatever new one she'd been using lately. Spiced, heady, too strong for a Tuesday. There was music playing from her phone in the bathroom. She always played music when she got ready to leave. She liked to feel like her life had a soundtrack. I didn't interrupt. I just placed the suitcase by the front door. Not hidden. Not center stage. Just placed. Like a fact. I sat on the couch and waited. When she came downstairs, she looked surprised to see me home. Her eyes flicked from my face to the suitcase, then back again. She opened her mouth to speak, but I beat her to it. I know. 2 words. That was all it took to break the script. She paused, blinked once. "No, what?" I gave her a long look. Not cold, not angry, just steady. She tried to laugh. An awkward, breathy thing that caught in her throat. "Are you okay? You look pale." I didn't answer that. Instead, I gestured to the suitcase. "You're not going to Arizona." Her posture shifted. Slightly, shoulders pulled back. Chin lifted just a little higher. Not the body language of someone caught. No panic. No fear. Just annoyance. Like I had disrupted something. She didn't deny it. Didn't ask what I was talking about. She simply sighed and said, "So you went through my stuff." I smiled. Just a little. "You left it unlocked." She crossed her arms, eyes narrowing. Not with guilt, but with defense. "That's a violation." "No," I said. "What you did was." She stared at me for a long moment, then moved to sit on the armrest of the chair across from me. As if we were 2 co-workers settling a disagreement over scheduling. Like the weight of it didn't register. "I didn't mean for you to find out this way," she said quietly. That sentence made me laugh. Not loudly, just a single, humorless breath. "There was a better way?" She looked down at her hands. "I was going to tell you." "When? After the jacuzzi? Or the candlelit dinner?" She flinched, just barely. Then straightened her back again, like she was reminding herself not to be small. "I didn't want to hurt you." "Too late." I haven't felt like myself. Not in a long time." I nodded slowly. "And sneaking around helped with that?" She didn't answer. Just let the silence swell between us. "I packed your things," I said eventually. "You can take them wherever you're actually going." Her eyes scanned the suitcase again. Then the door. She stood up. For a second I thought she might cry. But she didn't. Instead she said, "I thought you'd yell. Or beg me to stay." "I don't beg," I said simply. She blinked, then looked around the room like she was trying to remember something. Like she was realizing this wasn't hers anymore. Finally, she said, "You really want me to leave?" I stared at her. This woman I had once built a future with. I saw the edges of who she used to be. I saw the pieces she'd already thrown away long before I found that message. "You already left," I said. "You've just been sleeping here in the meantime." She stood there for a long time. I could see the shift happen, the quiet acceptance. The way she stopped seeing me as someone to convince. The realization that her time here had expired, and she hadn't even bothered to check the date. When she picked up the suitcase, she didn't look back, didn't say goodbye, didn't apologize. She opened the door, walked out, and closed it behind her with the calmness of someone who had done all her grieving already. Not with rage or tears, just finality. That was what broke me more than anything. Not the cheating, not the lies, but the fact that I didn't matter enough to break her heart. She had already moved on. Months ago, maybe longer. She was already with him. Not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually. I had become something to phase out. A step in her old life. She'd already rewritten her story to exclude me. I wasn't a person to her anymore. I was a delay, a detour, an echo. She didn't leave because I caught her. She left because she was already somewhere else. And I was just now realizing I'd been left behind long before the door shut. After she was gone, I didn't move. I sat there in the same spot for hours. The music had stopped. Her scent was still faint in the air. I noticed a single hair tie on the coffee table and threw it in the trash. That night, I slept in our bed for the first time in days. Alone. And it was quiet. Not peaceful. Not yet. But at least the silence was honest. I didn't expect to be the one people stopped calling. That's the thing they don't tell you when your relationship implodes. When someone breaks your trust, burns your house of love to the ground, and walks away without even smelling like smoke. You think everyone will rally to your side. You think the truth will speak for itself. But truth, it turns out, is quiet. And lies? They move faster. Less than a week after Haley left, I started getting the texts. At first, it was just a few, the usual check-ins from mutual friends. Polite concern. Heard you two are taking a break. Saw Haley's post. Everything okay? One even said, "You two always seemed so strong. Can't believe this." That one stung, because I could believe it now. And Haley? She was moving fast. It wasn't even subtle. Her social media came alive. New posts, new filters, new captions full of vague empowerment slogans and carefully staged selfies that looked spontaneous to the untrained eye. If you didn't know better, you'd think she was just reclaiming herself. I knew better, because I'd seen the messages. I knew about T, but she didn't post him. Not yet. She was too smart for that. Too careful. Instead, she posted indirect sh*ts. Half faces, blurred wine glasses across restaurant tables, shoes beside hers on hiking trails, a second coffee mug in the corner of the frame. The kind of thing that lets people assume what she wanted them to assume without actually saying it. She wasn't hiding him. She was setting the stage. And I was being edited out, deleted from the narrative like a bad draft. Then came the stories. Not from her directly, never that obvious, but from friends. People we used to see on double dates, game nights, vacations. People I once trusted with secrets, who were now quoting her like she'd survived a war. She said she felt suffocated. She said you stopped supporting her dreams. She said you always had to be right, that she was scared to speak up. That one nearly made me laugh. Scared? Haley? The woman who once stormed out of a brunch because the waiter brought her the wrong toast? Who talked over every barista who didn't spell her name with an EY at the end? But they bought it, because she looked the part now. Pale makeup, soft sweaters, eyes that held just enough sadness. A smile that said, "I'm healing, but not I'm broken." She played it well. She didn't mention the affair. Not to them. Of course not. That would complicate the story. Instead, she told people she left because she needed space to grow. That the relationship had turned toxic. She used words like emotional neglect, unmet needs, verbal pressure. Words that don't sound harsh, but cut deeper than any accusation. I was suddenly cast as the cold husband. The one who never listened. The one who wouldn't let her follow her passion. The one who never really supported her career. Even though I paid for her grad school and gave up my weekends to help her study for certification exams, she later told people she aced all on her own. I thought it couldn't get worse. Then Tessa messaged me. Tessa, her best friend since college. Bridesmaid at our wedding. The kind of person who always took Haley's side in arguments, but still smiled at me and called me brother during holidays. She sent a **T, one of Haley's messages to her. It read, "I'm almost out. Just need to keep my head down. He'll ruin it himself soon. I hope Trevor's ready." Trevor. So that was T. I stared at the name for a long time, not because I didn't expect it, but because it confirmed something worse. I hadn't just been replaced. I had been written out of the script, turned into the antagonist in the play she was performing for the world. She hadn't left because she was broken. She hadn't even left because of Trevor. She left because she had already decided that I wasn't going to be part of the next version of herself. And worse, she was going to build that version using the ashes of who I used to be. I sat with that for a long time. I didn't respond to Tessa. What was there to say? Thanks for the warning? Sorry I ever trusted either of you? Instead, I started pulling away from everyone. Not because I wanted to, but because I could see the shift. Group chats I used to be in suddenly went quiet. Invites dried up. Posts about parties I wasn't told about. Brunches where our friends smiled beside Haley like nothing had changed. I realized then, when someone cheats, when someone lies, people don't rush to pick sides based on right and wrong. They pick sides based on who makes them feel more comfortable, who spins the better version, who hurts less to believe. Haley was easier to believe. She made her pain soft, digestible, wrapped it in affirmations and soft-focus lighting, told people she was finally finding herself again, that she tried everything to save it. Me? I didn't post anything. I didn't share quotes or updates. I just existed. In a house with echoes, with an untouched mug in the cupboard and an extra pillow I couldn't bring myself to throw out yet. I became the villain by omission, by silence, by refusing to perform. There was a moment late one night where I almost posted something. A photo of her suitcase by the door, the booking confirmation, the message to Trevor, something. But I didn't, because it would look like revenge. And she'd already prepared for that. Told people I had a temper, that I held things in until I exploded, that I didn't handle things with grace. I couldn't play into the role she had cast me in. So I did nothing. And in doing nothing, I watched as she filled in the blanks for everyone else. I wasn't just grieving the relationship. I was grieving the version of me she'd taken from the people around us. The hardest part? Watching strangers and even old friends comment under her posts. "You're glowing. Proud of you for choosing peace. You look so free." Free. I wanted to scream, because freedom implies captivity. And somehow I had become the cage. She showed up to court like it was opening night. Light blouse, soft makeup, sad eyes. Her lawyer painted me as controlling, cold, emotionally cruel. I sat there silent, letting her script run. Then my attorney stood. He brought out the receipts. Hotel bookings, financial statements, **TS. Her affair, her plans, her lies, lined up like dominoes. The judge didn't react. No gasps, no drama. Just quiet disbelief in the room as her narrative collapsed. Even when they read her message, "I want someone who doesn't know my past." She didn't flinch. The mask held. But the facts didn't need her permission to be true. Her performance ended, not with applause, but silence. A month later, she came back, alone, said she made a mistake, that Trevor left. Her voice was small, eyes dull, but I wasn't hers to come back to anymore. I told her I don't catch her when she falls. Not anymore. After she left, I repainted the walls, bought new furniture, replaced her scent with peace. Except one thing stayed, the note she once left on the fridge. "One day you'll thank me." I framed it, not for her, for me, to remember who I became after her.